Okay, so the reason that women can wear a veil could be for a very variety of, I guess, different appropriate reasons, right? Maybe a small variety, maybe only two reasons, whatever. Um, but it comes down to um, the not it's like a non-disclosure agreement for a grain seed storage, like an enclave society, like a dynastic. They basically anytime that people store up grain, because nobody would ever grow crops for themselves and their family and include grain. So anybody naturalistically who has enough knowledge to survive autonomously and on their own means and not grow grain is kind of pre-Diluvian. It's kind of pre-Diluvian and opposed to what had become mass farming. So you would think that they have some sort of uh, foresight and avoidance, But obviously that's not the case because we've overtaken them. So even a Typhonian pre-Diluvian can would become uh, dynastic and Arcturian or maintain a castle structure, society, and a grain storage modality, like silos and stuff, which always involves some sort of slavery or animal husbandry or so. The threshing. Um, and some are afforded the luxuries, and some, like some, there's going to be some debtors and some peasants and some warrior class and everything, but you never have a lot of upward mobility, like you until the United States, which makes it special. And it's our biggest problem is the tech, the not the technology, but the the tech oligarchy, that is like a principality in Silicon Valley that's setting up a surveillance capitalism, and the legacy press, mainstream legacy press that um, in correlation with a bunch of lawyers, it will change the meaning of words, including flat, dry preservative of invention called media. You know what I mean? So a lot of things happen like that don't match up. So like they would need a one-dimensional character to represent evil, so they can go against them and get a lot of people behind them and a lot of locomotion and get the juices flowing, rolling, get the cooking and everything. Cooking up a plot and stuff. So then, all right, so they have to come at simple definitions, terminologies, definitions from every angle and legalese to change it to get out of um, being limited, severely limited in their influence. They can't afford to not to be limited in their influence. It's not like a normal person who could just say, "Well, I'm going to go off the grid." Think about it. That like without a mark, there's no such thing as a psychopath. Somebody had to be a mark. A human being has to be cannibalized for an aim that is less significant than the means expressed by the person who's trying to reach that end and take it to a different place. So that person will feel intruded on and feel dirty because and they're not in a good place, while that other person uh, rationalizes that having taken yours, that they're in a good place. Ha ha, like they're in a good place, but uh, they don't get to know that they're not a big deal. They don't get to know that that all money ain't good money, and that robbing Peter to pay Paul can't happen. And they'll when they ask, oh, somebody like, oh, how are you doing and shit, and if they told them I was robbing Peter to pay Paul, they'd be like, oh, oh, well, they fucking then saying back into their into a stupor. That's why they have to laugh to duper light and shit, but then they can't show you. And they have to disguise it and rationalize it, legitimize it, work it back into the dough. Work it back into the dough. It's like stress. And something has to be done about them because they are fucking you. It's like I just think there are certain types of pressure that where the karma won't affect them as bad. Where if you have a lot more mercy than not really caring whatever happens to them, basically. I don't know. That doesn't make things just. That doesn't make everything balance out, and you know what I'm saying. But it's just a perspective, and we can't keep all this shit. So somebody is going to be like they've already convinced themselves that they have a boss because they have to mask their laughter and their duper's delight, and they can't. So they're just like, they're like, they don't understand that you can recognize that they have a boss, because they fucked you. But that's the logic. They don't understand. They don't understand. Like, yeah, you fucked me. Like, they don't have no reply. Just like you might not have a recourse because they know how to hack their way through. But they don't have no reply. I mean, it's a small consolation. I'm pretty sure you want to whoop their ass. And then, I mean, I'm surprised that I'm not like more affected by having been scammed. Like I thought it would be a lot more upsetting than it actually was, and I'm I'm building back up sooner than that person, right? Who's probably in abatement, you know, like they don't really know how I could even come by that stuff in the first place. And they see somebody, they would never give them the credit or even think that they even fucked with it in the first place. So that's the difference. The technology and the surveillance, being able the data and this shit like that, like gives them an edge. It gives them an edge, but it doesn't change the fact that man makes the money. Money doesn't make the man. They needed to be materialistic, take yours, because they can't stand up to life without having those props. Like they need those props to say that they have advanced to a certain degree, that they're to be taken a certain amount seriously, that you would want to hear what they have to say, all that. Damn, finally get to it. So they started with this: why did women wear a veil? And um, it is a slightly superficial thing. It keeps all the parties happy in transfer of power in a business arrangement where people marry off their children. And we could say that that's awful and everything, but they didn't not have. See, they didn't have paternal. They don't have paternalism. They don't have, and they don't all have upward mobility. So that's just what it is. It's just what it is. I'm pretty sure everybody understands. And also just bringing it up, right? Because certain things you might think are, you know, that people would always understand or always know. It's like this subconscious, like if you got that part then you understand everything else about the ritual about of the veil, right? And it's not all like this like uh what's it called, Godsmack mythical kingdom, like this, like all everything's like all mystical and shit. Like you're better off if you didn't think everything was all like mystical like that, you know? Like it's an entanglement in your in an environment, you know, where everything that you never got to do is what everything really is, what everything is. So some people are just born to eat popcorn with butter. It's like you know, before they decide that they don't want any of you know, they don't want any of what's here offered, right? It's like so. Yeah, this is not a new thing. They're making old videos. I was just focusing on that veil thing because of um, the veil, which we're kind of living inside of. It's Betelgeuse is the closest star to the sun. You even be able to see it. You know what I mean? There's things that happening that because of our perspective or relationship to it, we can't see it, so that we can be not clarified. It's for clarification.